The last update, there it went. You're good
There
now.
we go. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. We are recording. Hi. Welcome everybody to Group Coach today, the Young Entrepreneur Syndicate. Thank you for joining us. And today we are going to talk about the topic of borrowing other people's confidence. So I this topic, and I'm glad it was assigned to me because I think confidence is really important in business. And there's a lot that we can dive into today about borrowing confidence because we don't all start with confidence. And you know, I remember the first time I was in a meeting where I was it wasn't a meeting, it was more of like a networking lunch, and everybody was asked to introduce themselves. And it was the very first time I had to introduce myself as the CEO, owner, founder of Sunday Brunch Agency. And I swear I stumbled over my own name. It was like I just didn't have the confidence yet in saying my name with like that type of authority behind it. And now, 10 years later, it rolls right off the tongue, no problem. But how did I get there? What kind of confidence builders did I use to get there? So I think as you're growing up in business and in the corporate world, it's often that we start at the bottom, right? You start as a receptionist, or in the advertising world, you kind of go up the pegs from like assistant account executive to account executive to senior account executive to account supervisor to account director to group account director to junior VP or whatever. And then like it's all these little tiny rungs. And you sort of build confidence slowly over time. But with entrepreneurship, you don't often have that. You have to walk into every room, to every meeting, to every interaction and encounter with a fairly high level of confidence in yourself and in your company and what you can deliver. So sometimes that old adage, fake it till you make it, really comes into play because you're like, all right, I got this. Um, but there's definitely some strategies for borrowing and leveraging other people's confidence to help boost your own. So and I don't mean it, by the way, like in a disingenuous way or in a not authentic way. I just mean to remind ourselves that we are really good at what we do. I'm gonna Before I get into it, I'm gonna tell one other story. um I was working at, I've worked at big advertising agencies and I worked at small ones. And when you work at a small or a boutique advertising agency, it's fairly customary that you wear a lot of different hats, kind of like being an entrepreneur. No job too big, no job too small. You do all different types of tasks, and it could be alphabetizing something, it could be doing the billing, it could be a major production, it could be client meetings, it's all these different things. Well, then at a big advertising agency, you really just do one thing. And if it's account service, you just do account service. If it's media planning, you just do media planning. It's that one thing. So at one point, I was pivoting between a big agency and a small agency, and I was having this crisis of confidence because I felt like at the big agency I'd been just in my one task, just in my one role. I was giving direction and managing other people to do things, but I hadn't gotten my hands dirty in a really long time. And I was like, ooh, can I still do it? Do I still remember? And then I found myself in this call where I I had to like jump right back in, and it was like riding a bike. And I was like, "Oh yeah, I know this. This is easy." Like you don't forget it. It's been ingrained in you. So as you're building confidence, as you're getting more reps, as you're advancing in your career, you might sometimes think, "Well, am I still as sharp as I once was? Or do I still remember this?" And the answer is like you absolutely do. And sometimes you don't realize that until you're in a moment, a meeting, a situation, a conversation where you all of a sudden are asked something, and like that triggers your mind to remember, oh yeah, oh wow, I know all about this. I know everything there is to know about this topic. So it all goes in the same direction. It's all leading to your experience. And every rep and every day and every year that you spend in your chosen profession is getting you one step closer to being a master at your craft, to being an expert, and to building that confidence. So, we are all on this journey to build our confidence, is what we're talking about this evening. So, there's a few areas. Let's see. I'm going to start with, let's see. I am going to start with, I think it's 7. Yeah, I've got like 7 areas of where you can borrow and leverage others' confidence to boost your own. So this is going to be our list of 7 things. So the first is talking about mentorship and role models. Okay, so let's break those down. If number 1 is mentorship and role models. All right, so first let's talk about mentors. All right, well, if you find someone who has the confidence and the success that you aspire to achieve, having regular interaction with them can help you adopt their mindset, their behaviors, and learning tips and tricks from them. So having a mentor is really powerful. I think I'm preaching to the choir on this one, but it's worth saying. Role models are similar to mentors. A role model, is maybe someone who's a little bit closer to where you're at. Maybe you can take a closer look at some of the things that they're doing in their journey, maybe understand their struggles, maybe like, uncover a little bit more of their secret sauce. Um, the Let's see, there's another term here that I want to mention. It's a mentor or I forget it. I think it's almost like an advocate. I forget the exact term that I use. But someone who's going to champion for you in circles of influence, someone who maybe they're not a mentor, maybe they're not a role model, maybe they're just somebody that who's in like an adjacent space, but will like vouch for you and will like give you that thumbs up or that third party stamp of approval. So, oh, sponsor, that's the word I was looking for. Thank you. Sponsor. So keep that in mind too, as you're in that number 1 bucket of mentors, role models, sponsors. Like these are people that, you can learn from and they can help build your success and your confidence. Okay. Number 2, um, what you're doing tonight is part of number 2. So you can all check the box on number 2. Number 2 is networking and community engagement. So this can look like joining an entrepreneurship network like this one that you're in tonight. This gives you an opportunity not just to learn from other people, but engage with community, engage with local business, like-minded individuals. And this is a place where sometimes like when we're all together, like you guys bring up problems, you bring up questions, we learn from each other. There's a collective wisdom here, like in our group. So that's wonderful. The second part of that one is the community engagement. And locally in your own communities, there's probably workshops or seminars or chambers of commerce that you can attend where you can interact with other entrepreneurs in person in case, we're not all so close together, like geographically. But it's nice to be able to see people face to face every once in a while. And, those workshops, seminars, community engagement events are also a great place to uh, build your community engagement. Okay. Number 3. The third is it's not so much something that you joined, but it's more of like a concept here. It's like affirmations and feedback. So you're great. How does that play in to, borrowing other people's and leveraging other people's confidence, right? Okay, so if you regularly seek feedback from your peers, from your mentors, you know, from anyone in your community, that positive feedback can boost your confidence. And if it's constructive, it can give you valuable learning and maybe like unearth some additional opportunities for you. And maybe it's feedback, maybe it's constructive criticism, maybe it's affirmations, and maybe some of that the affirmations that you get, or are going to help you like rewire your mindset towards building your confidence, and not just like receiving affirmations and feedback, but also like proactively asking people like, hey, what do you think about this, with no ego, with no expectation, like no wrong answer, like totally open to whatever their input is. So I think it's a lot of bravery to ask for feedback, and if somebody asks you for feedback, remind yourself that that's an opportunity where it's like almost having a chit where you're like, oh, they asked me for feedback, they value my opinion, great. I'm going to really help them, give them my best thoughts, and then feel free in turn to ask them like, hey, similarly, would you mind like giving this a proofread for me, or giving me another set of eyes on this, and giving them the opportunity to, repay that um, opportunity of affirmations and feedback with you. So that's the first three, and I'll repeat them just so we're all on the same page. So under the topic of borrowing and leveraging other people's confidence to boost our own, the first one was those mentors, role models, and sponsors. The second one was our networking and community engagement, like belonging to the Yes group. The third one is um, asking for and receiving affirmations and positive feedback and constructive criticism, both giving and receiving. So that's the third one. And then we've got four more. So let's talk about the fourth. The fourth is collaborative projects. Collaborative projects that could come to life through working with partners. So maybe you want to collaborate on projects with different people or different businesses or professionals that could assist and have a positive impact on maybe a problem that you're trying to solve. Maybe you're exploring a new service or a new strategy or a new deliverable, and you want to work with somebody on it. And, that whole adage of like two heads are better than one, right? So working with somebody together, that could be an outside partner, like a, what do you call it? Like a professional partnership. Or it honestly, it could even be collaborating with additional team members. Maybe you want to ask people that you trust that are either inside your organization or that are peers in your industry, um, for to collaborate on a project with you. So that's another option. And that can also build your confidence and give you an opportunity to work with other great thinkers in your space. All right, number 5, intimidation and adaptation. All right, so, oh, no, sorry, not intimidation, imitation. Sorry. That's not what I meant. Hang on. Okay, imitation and adaptation. All right, so imitation, I mean, they all say that like, nothing's original anymore. Like everyone's kind of copying from everybody else, right? But if you can mimic successful behaviors, if you can identify specific behaviors and strategies that are used by other entrepreneurs and emulate them, I mean, that would really help you. And maybe this is their communication style. Maybe it's their decision-making process. Maybe it's their approach to risk, or maybe it's the way that they structure their products or their services. But then I want you to take that and adapt it to your style. So, while you're starting with them as the inspiration point, you adapt it to fit maybe your personality or your business style, or, put your own spin on it. So, I'm going to share with you guys a really cool tool that I have borrowed. I have imitated from a company that I won't say which one, but I've been using it for years. And I'm going to tell you an easy way to remember it. Okay, so it's RASCI, 5 letters, RASCI. And we say this as RASCI. It's the RASCI. Now, every time there's a new project, we RASCI it out. So how do we do that? So the R is who's responsible. So this is, every letter is going to have a meaning. So the responsible person in kind of like, pardon me, like it's a little harsh, but this is whose ass is on the line, right? Like if this project doesn't go well, it's their butt on the line. If it goes great, they get all the kudos too. All right. So you've got the responsible person, the person who's in charge of it. Okay. Then you have the A. The A in the RASCI is who is the approver. So maybe the approver is the client. Maybe the approver is, maybe there's someone internally in your internal structure that needs to review and approve things, right? But somebody's got to approve it. Then you have the third letter in RASCI, the S. The S is who is the support? Who is going to be providing support for this project while it's going on? Who's going to be lending a helping hand? Who's going to be there for the team? All right, then you have the C in RASCI. The C is the consult. Who is somebody that's available to go to for wisdom, or somebody who's available to give, like, they're not really working on the project, but like maybe they can advise on it. They've been through something similar. Maybe they offer a product that's similar. They've been through something like this. They could consult. Then the last one, the I in RASCI, that is the inform. This is just somebody, they're an FYI. They just need to be kept in the loop. They're not involved, but you don't want to have to always have them asking you, hey, what happened with this? What happened with that? You're just keeping them in the loop. They're the FYI that you BCC them on things, or you just let them know how it went when it's over. And that way they stay informed. So when you're a small organization, this is a little easier to do. But if you've got a lot of cooks in the kitchen, instead of having everybody running around being like, who's in charge of this and who's doing that and who's responsible for this, it's like, all right, let's just RASCI it out. And then everybody has a role. They know their swimming lane and they know what success looks like for their responsibility. So as you're using imitation and adaptation, that was an example of something that I imitated and adapted from another company to use in my company. And I've used it on board of directors that I've sat on. I've actually taught it to clients so that they can use it for their internal structures. So now I'm teaching it to you. So that might be a good tool for you guys to implement, especially if you've got a lot going on with a lot of cooks in the kitchen. So, all right, number 6. All right, number 6 in our journey here is visualization and mental rehearsal. So as we're talking about building confidence, visualization is very important. I want you to spend time visualizing the confidence of a successful entrepreneur. Mentally rehearse your approach in different scenarios. This is going to help you build mental resilience, going to help you build confidence. Visualization is a very important part of our training. So I'll tell you, when I was, on 75, we start program, visualization is not part of it, but as you advance through the Live Hard program, eventually 10 minutes a day of visualization is required. And it's a very powerful tool that at first it's almost difficult to master because your brain wants to wander. So it actually takes practice in order to visualize different things that you are trying to get your brain to focus on. So it's very important. And then mindfulness and meditation, those really go hand in hand, because when you practice mindfulness and meditation to maybe reduce anxiety, or get out of like the fight or flight, nervous system response into more of a calm, cool, collected, you're able to think more clearly and you're able to kind of step back and make better choices. So visualization, and mindfulness and meditation, those are definitely important tools to make a part of your daily practice. And as you're building your business and the more advanced you get in your career, you're going to hear people talk about this more and more. So, all right, number 7. Number 7 is building a support system. So this is, I think it's been a while since I've talked about this, but we're going to talk here, the support system for all of us. It's really this one everybody has. You might not be calling it this, but you all have a personal board of directors. So if you think about the different people in your life, there's really four groups of people in your life that you go to all the time, and you're doing it already. You probably just haven't thought about them in this way. Okay, so we're going to talk about these people. All right. Now, the first is my favorite, and I always start here. The first is the cheerleaders. The cheerleaders are the people that are going to tell you you are great and you are wonderful all the time, regardless of what you are saying to them or what you're asking them. Now, my mom is a great example of a cheerleader for me because she always tells me, "Oh my God, that's wonderful." And you know what? Sometimes I need to hear that. And that's great. Like there is definitely a role for the cheerleader in our lives. So that's wonderful. But if I have something where I really need critical feedback, I shouldn't ask a cheerleader. I should know who I'm asking. So sometimes when I need advice, I really run through this in my head. Do I want to call someone who's just going to agree with me and tell me I'm great? Or do I need to have a different kind of conversation? Okay. So those are the cheerleaders. Okay. So now we're going to talk about the next kind. Okay. The next is the connectors. The connectors are the people who always kind of can point you in the right direction. So, you probably have a friend who's often says like, like I need a jeweler. And he's like, oh, I got a guy. Or like, oh, I need an accountant. Oh, I got a guy. Oh, um, those are your connectors. So if you need to have a conversation that's going to require you getting an introduction to somebody, that's when you want to go to a connector. So the fourth group there is an expert. Now, your expert is your area specific expert who's going to give you constructive feedback. So if you have something related to business, you should go to one of your experts in business to ask them for their feedback, their constructive input about it. Experts are not always going to tell you what you want to hear. They're going to tell you what you need to know. All right. The last one is the mentors. The mentors are the people that we all have mentors. And I know we've talked about this a little bit, but sometimes you know your mentors and sometimes you don't know them, but you're like watching them from afar. Like you could be inspired by, I don't know, Andy Frisella or Gary Vee or, whoever, right? Like somebody out there in the world that you don't personally know. Like Robert Greene was kind of an unofficial mentor to me because I used to read his books and listen to him and think he was just amazing. So like mentor could be somebody you do or do not know, but you're going to go to a mentor when you're looking for answer or guidance or wisdom on something specific. You're not going to go to a mentor when you need feedback on an email or something. That's who you go to an expert for. Or you're having a fight with your partner, are you going to go to a cheerleader who's going to tell you that you're right and your partner's stupid? Or are you going to go to a connector who says, oh, I have a great therapist for you? Or are you going to go straight to your therapist and say, hey, I got this thing going on with my partner, what do you think? Right? So you just have to be wise about this number 7 one, because number 7, remember, this is building a support system. So you've got your personal board of advisors, or your whatever you call them, your board of directors, who you surround yourself with, right? A lot of the times we go to our friends. Our friends are our cheerleaders. That's not always the right person to ask. Now, sometimes you'll see people specifically, I think I've run into this in the fitness world or the dieting world, when they're like, oh, you need an accountability partner. You need like a buddy system. And that works out too. Like if you're going to hold yourself accountable to a buddy, to kind of push yourself, whether it's on like a diet or it's on a fitness program or something. I mean, that's also like another way to enhance your support system and build confidence by being held accountable by somebody, and that you're accountable to them and they're accountable to you. So that was our 7 ways of talking about borrowing and leveraging others' confidence to boost our own. I'm going to repeat them. So number 1 was the mentorship and role models. Number 2 was networking and community engagement. Number 3 was affirmations and positive feedback. Number 4 was collaborative projects. Number 5 was imitation and adaptation. Number 6 was visualization and mental rehearsals. And also a little bit of mindfulness and meditation. Number 7 was building a support system. And this is where we talked about the board of directors and, having an accountability partner. All right, in that space. So, all right, let's continue on this journey of confidence. All right. So, how do you define confidence in a business context? Right? Like, what is confidence? Is it your ability to complete a task? Like checking items off your to-do list? Does that build your confidence? Is it being able to make quick decisions? Or is it achieving short-term goals or achieving long-term goals? And probably it's a combination of those things, because as you accomplish tasks, make decisions, and achieve goals, your your self assertiveness, your um your self assessment is going to grow and become more positive over time. You're going to have more genuine confidence. Oh, hang on, pause with me for just a moment. Sorry for the interruption in our regularly scheduled program. And we will continue. All right. All right. So the business application of defining confidence. All right. So in business, confidence can manifest in various ways from, like I said, finishing tasks, presenting effectively, negotiating new deals, leading your team, seeing your team achieve great things, building new business, taking a calculated risk. All of these are different steps in your journey that are going to help you, define and build confidence with hard-hitting facts. So, all right, now let's talk about decision making as it relates to some of these a little bit further. So, let's say like risk taking, for instance. All right, we're multitasking here. All right. So the role of confidence in decision making and leadership and how that all plays in. All right. So if you're confident, you're more likely to take a calculated risk, which could probably lead to maybe an innovation or maybe a growth in your company. Now, if you're confident and you're taking, what do they call it? Calculated risks, then you're going to be building a longer sustaining business that has good, consistent growth. If you're not confident and you're not making calculated risks and you stumble and you fall and you struggle, then that is going to be a hindrance to your confidence growth. So you want to make sure that you're talking to your board of directors, you're talking to your mentors, you're getting advice and building confidence before making big decisions. Now if you're a leader in your company and you're trying to inspire trust and motivate others, like you have to kind of have this like air of like, yeah, I got it handled, right? And I got all this, because you're leading a team and you want them to believe in you. So you don't want to ever lean on your team, like your staff, for this. You want to make sure that you have peers or that you have people that are outside your organization that you can talk to. Then you can express your insecurities or express your concerns. But that old saying, like, the shit runs downhill, right? Like, you don't want that to happen. Like, you don't want to go to your team and be like, well, I'm really concerned that if we lose this client, we won't make payroll. Like, you don't want to say that to them. Like, that's just going to make them freak out. And it's going to make them lose confidence in you or in the organization. So you have to make sure that you are talking to the right people about the right types of concerns at the right time. Um, Now, this also, bleeds into effective communication. So, if you're having these, conversations with the right people at the right time, ultimately this will build trust and build confidence with your team. So just kind of keep that in mind. All right. So let's talk about my favorite topic. Obviously, it's marketing. Okay. So marketing, you are always going to want to present a confident marketing plan out there in the world. This is going to manifest through your website, through your social media, through your emails, through your flyers, through the events that you attend. So it's perception, right? You want to be a trusted brand that's consistent in the marketplace. So that means if you're having consistent posting on social media, consistent monthly email newsletters, it shows your clients, it shows the community that you have a handle on things, that your business is busy and that you are there and you're there for them. And, you're not overwhelmed, you're not on your heels, you're on your toes with these things, you're ahead of it. So you want to make sure that the brand perception out there in the world with your marketing aligns with what you want it to be. So, let's see, a lot of you run your own businesses. So that also means that not just marketing of the company, it also means the marketing and the personal branding of the founder. So people ask me all the time about how your personal brand plays into the brand of the company. And I mean, even though they're separate, they're complementary. So you can't be looking like your personal life is falling apart and that your business is perfect. People are smart enough to know that, they're connected. So you ought to always make sure that your perception of your personal brand and the perception of your business brand are complementary and that they are telling the strategy that you want out there in the market. So this manifests through not just your social posts, not just your website and your emails, but I mean, think about it's the way you dress, it's the way you show up. And now in some areas of the world this matters more than others, but like, are your shoes clean? Is your car clean? Like, is your hair washed, right? Like, are you showing up dirty or are you all put together? Like, this stuff matters. Do you look like you just rolled out of bed and you're hungover, or do you look like you got up and you worked out this morning and you're ready to tackle the world? So like, it all plays into brand perception and ultimately the confidence that other people are going to have in you and the confidence that you are going to have in yourself. So I think that I've pretty much covered that. I think you guys got it. So if you're doing all of these things, then ultimately you're going to lead to more sales. You're going to lead to attracting more people to your business, attracting more people into your tribe, into your community. So you will be able to be more confident, to take more strategic risks. Okay. Let's see. Now let's go back to borrowing confidence from others. So when you surround yourself with confident individuals, their belief in your ability can also help you enhance your own self-belief. So I love talking about the David Meltzer experience. So David Meltzer, if you guys don't follow him, I highly recommend you do. He's a business leader. We did an event with him with the Young Entrepreneur Syndicate last year. He does a lot of coaching. He does a lot of speaking. He's involved with a lot of great people. And he does it's a podcast show on Apple TV called Office Hours. Now, he films this show, I think 3 or 4 times a year in Las Vegas at the Wynn at the podcast studio. And I go almost every time that they're filming. And I've never been on the show. I've got clients who've been on the show, but I go because I want to be in that green room and I want to be surrounded by other confident, successful people who share my belief. They say, you like vibe with your tribe, right? I always spend time there and I always feel so motivated, so driven, so understood. I feel like our frequencies are always operating on such a high level, and it's the spirit of gratitude and giving back and philanthropy and helpingness. And it's like, oh my God, you have this business, you have this amazing business that does private jets. Well, I have this amazing business that does meditation. Well, I have this marketing company. Well, how can I help you? How can I help you? And it's so wonderful. I always leave so inspired and so like, filled with ideas from other like-minded people. So, you need to find those areas where you can engage with people that are going to inspire you, um, to take your business to the next level, to take your brand to the next level. And, ultimately, um, that level of self-assurance and confidence, the more reps, the more times you introduce yourself, the more time you're in those rooms, the more likely you are to be invited back. So, you know, it's instrumental to invest time in what I like to call is like, that book, The E Myth, where it's like working on your business versus working in your business. So when I'm in those moments, I'm working on my business, not working in the execution of my business. So, all right. So we've talked about a lot of different things today. Let me see if I'm missing anything else here. Dun, 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 dun. Bear with me for a second. Okay. I think I'm at the point where I am ready to talk to you guys, open it up a little bit to a dialogue here. I like that we've got a group tonight, so we might need to talk about, I want to know, how confident are you guys feeling? What problems are you having in your business? What challenges are you having? Um, it's summer months. Is business going really well? Are people taking time off for vacations and holidays? How's that impacting your business? How's that impacting your confidence in your deliverables? We're about the halfway mark for the year. Are your sales on target? Are they ahead? Are they behind? Like, this is like for the last probably 15 minutes here, I want to talk to you guys and have a dialogue about how that's going. Do you want to jump in? Rod, do you want to talk first?
Yeah, I will. Thanks, Rachel. I really like what you did with this topic first. I think it's a great way to look at other people's confidence and how that impacts us, and to surround ourselves with the right people. And in the meantime, I like how you started off, remind ourselves that we are good at what we do and to trust our own knowledge and experience first. I mean, this starts with us. If you're an entrepreneur, this starts with us, but we have to grow, right? And that's where you came at this. So I really appreciate the effort that you put into the presentation tonight. And I will say this: I get inspired every Monday night, and it's because I don't have to do. I sound like Trump, right? I don't want to have to be here. I don't want to have to do this, right? And I don't, but I want to. I want to be in a place where I'm helping other people and I'm still growing myself. And so this is just evidence of that in my own life. And so you've really hit on something important here. And I actually wrote down while you were talking, I had a brief idea earlier tonight before the call, and I started fleshing it out right here while we're on the call tonight. It's like, and it involves you, Rachel, and Jim, and eventually the rest of the Young Entrepreneur Syndicate as well. But it's like it's time to level up sometimes. And you mentioned, it's easy to get into those spaces where we're either so involved in our business because like I know some people are in seasonal businesses, some on the call tonight and some that aren't. And I know that you're all in because you're just reacting, you're doing what you have to do. And some of us are in that summer mode where we're doing baseball games with kids and we're running all over the place, and it's a constant juggling match. And so getting to a place where you're always moving forward, even when you're inundated with all the to-dos, is so important. And it can just be a moment like this, a 1 hour on a Monday night, to refocus and say, all right, I do have a business to run. I know I'm running it ragged right now, but I do have to be looking forward. I do need to be looking at my own personal growth and my business growth. And it doesn't matter what season. If it's not summer, it's fall. If it's not fall, it's the winter doldrums or the holiday season. There's always something. And so I'm inspired that, we've got to be pressing into other people all the time to keep ourselves accountable. And maybe that's what the whole lesson is tonight, is where's our accountability coming from? And yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of rambling now, and that gets away from some of my own talking points about I like to be brief and to the point. But this was just, it's another inspirational moment for me tonight. So thanks for that. And anybody else can chime in at this point. I'll let it. Thanks, Rachel.
Thank you. It's great. Good. Anthony, I'm really curious what's going on with your business right now. Will you jump in?
My business is doing well. It is a semi-seasonal business where I do like lawnmower, snowblower repair. So like March, end of March to like end of June is all tune-ups. And then kind of like after like July 1st to like end of August, it's like basically repair work because all the tune-ups are more or less, I'd say like 80% of them are probably over now, at least. Um, so it's just kind of like just adjusting to that, I guess. I have a little bit less work now, which is kind of nice because it's been like absolutely crazy since March. Well, even before that, because we had late snow. Um, so it's been kind of crazy the last 7 months. So I'm definitely like ahead on where I thought I would be with sales, which is cool. Um, but I also need to work on my accounting, and that's something I've been putting off for a little bit. Because the weather is just so beautiful, and I just want to be outside and not in this office. So I need to work on that. But other than that, yeah, no, life is good, business is good, just trotting along over here, really.
So what I would challenge you, since business is good and things are better than they were last year, my question to you to start thinking about specifically is retention and upselling for the next 6 months. So how do you keep those customers? How do you get more referrals from those customers in order to sustain the growth and not have it dip over time? Is we want to keep it steady. So using that as a runway to get more. So maybe that means creating like an email flow that might nurture those relationships in the off-season months, or maybe it's prepping them with like the materials for a referral program. But you know,
Yeah,
ride high on it for sure, but also make sure that it's gonna stay high.
yeah. I'm there's there's definitely like a my mind kind of goes like a route planning software where I can put all of these addresses in, and then because I have like a couple thousand clients on a CRM that I could just put all of their email or their home addresses into, and then it would say like which one's close by each other, and then I can try and do like targeted marketing that way because gasoline is so expensive where I am. Driving like 15 minutes. It not only is it a waste of time, but it's a waste of gas too. Versus if you could do like, 1 or 2 minutes and stay in the same neighborhood all day, it would definitely boost your profitability.
Yeah, good. I like that. Yes, good thought. And I like that you're thinking a few steps ahead, right? Like just staying in the same neighborhood, like something as simple as that. Makes
Yeah, and then
a
I
difference.
want to I want to try and develop it where the route planning software will also integrate right into the website using like an API token so
Hmm.
that when someone books an appointment on the website, it'll give them a day and time right when they book it. Um, but it takes quite a bit of programming, so I'm slowly working on that. It's been a vision for a little bit, but it's starting to slowly come together. I can't hear you.
Sorry, we have a question in the chat from Taylor about, I'm just reading it now. Her business is mainly online, which we know. Yep, okay. Um, how important is it? What extent should I tap into my local community? Um, Well, I think even for an e-commerce business, relationships are still crazy important, because if you're spending time to, let's say, like do a pop-up shop or go to an event and make those connections and sell it like in person, or like build up the advocates for your, that are for your brand, like maybe you do a special, like a shopping event at like a local store, like you'll have tons of sales, there. And then they're going to like, oh, I met the owner. She was so amazing. Oh, and her product's really good. So again, that sort of like feeds into your personal brand and their trust in you. So you want to do both at the same time. Also, I feel like customer service directly from an owner operator is incredibly powerful. So, um, we have, I've got two great examples for you on this. One is, um, there's this service that's really trendy in our area, and I know it's really trendy in Vegas too, but it's called like IV therapy, where you can go in and like get like a vitamin drip, or like if you've been traveling, you have jet lag, or you feel like you're fighting a cold, like you can go in and get like an IV treatment or a hangover, whatever, right? Okay, no judgment. All right. So I had a friend, well, there's this chain of them that are really popular called the Hydration Room. And I had this friend that was like really unhappy with his service that he got one day. So he messaged in and like wrote the company and says that he was really disappointed. Within like an hour, the owner contacted him and was like, I'm so sorry to hear of your like experience. Like, can I offer you a discount? And he was like, no, I don't need a discount. Like, I just wanted you to know that like the service wasn't that awesome. And he was like, wow, I'm really glad you told me. And he was just surprised that the owner got back to him personally. Similarly, like one of my clients, runs a multi-million dollar business, and they make e-commerce only products and they ship them all over the country. And he is always the one that responds to any comment on Instagram, any comment on Facebook, any like support email. He puts his phone number on the website and he's like, call me anytime. And like whenever I'm with him, he takes like he'll answer any number. I'm like, hey, this is, I'm here to help you. What can I answer you for your question? I think it goes a really long way that there were in both of those examples, they're not using a call center, they're not delegating it, they're keeping the onus, and creating that personal touch, which I think creates more loyalty with their customer base. And it's one of the ways that they both continued to grow. So just keep that in mind. Yeah, e-commerce is great and it's passive and I love that, but also the human touch is becoming so much more valuable as so many other people are farming it out overseas, or they're not taking the time. So I know that we're all limited on our time. It's our most valuable resource, especially with our kids and our lives and all of our things. But, you love your business. Nobody loves your business the way you do, and nobody is going to be able to talk about it the way that you do. So I hope that helps.
I want to chime in on that too, Rachel. And this will work not just for Taylor, but anyone else as well. And it gets to the TOMA, top of mind awareness thing. If you're staying engaged with your community, even though it's, I know you've got community members here, you don't know who they're in contact with. You don't know when they're traveling, who they're sitting next to on an airplane, going to a similar convention that has something to do with your product, or your product has something to do with someone in their life. You don't know the intricate web of providential connections that are out there waiting to happen to your business. So you have to stay in it. You have to constantly be putting yourself out there. And I don't mean constantly as in do it every day or have it on a schedule, but look for those opportunities to inject yourself into your community, because those connections will lead to providential avenues, sales, connections down the road. And so that's where God does the work, right? If you're diligent to go out there and do what's necessary, magic happens, right? Call it magic, call it providence, call it whatever. It's the hand of God. It's working in your life and in your business. So stay out there and connected, knowing, hoping, and manifesting, be expectant that those things will happen. That's my 2 cents.
Thank you. I love what both of you had to say. Super helpful.
All right, we have a few more minutes. I don't know if Heidi wants to jump in on anything. Maybe.
If she's unpacked.
I know.
And she got a new client last week, brand new client in Billings, Montana. So we're still excited for her for that.
I know she's had a lot going on,
Yeah.
but we're supporting her in her journey, which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and thank you guys for your patience tonight as I've had my, my tiny staff in and out here.
This is real life, and I think it's good for everyone to see that too. We have to be willing to be flexible and adapt.
Yep.
And you're never going to get any downgrades, down scores for taking care of your family while you're taking care of business here.
Thank you. I do want to mention a little bit of housekeeping. There is a new document on the back end of the member portal on the website under the document library. It's called Sales Objections. And I think Rod put this together after a group coaching lecture a while ago, and it's now live. Do you want
Thanks,
to talk about that a
Rachel.
little bit more?
Yeah, well, that was something that everyone thought would be helpful to have because we all get objections and knowing just the expectation. So I'm glad that you followed up and got that done. Thank you very much. And I know you've been busy, so I wasn't going to say anything until you got your feet back on the ground from your cruise and all the other stuff. So thanks for putting it on there. Again, it's another tool for the members, and I think it's awesome. Thanks.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
I think we've got some more coming too. So, we're going to continue to populate that document library with more and more resources for you guys. And if there's something specific that you are looking for that you don't have, that you might need, feel free to reach out, and we're happy to put some pen to paper on that for you guys.
I do have one quick question for Anthony while we've got you on the line tonight. You mentioned bookkeeping. Are you using software? Or are you just using Excel and doing your own, or?
Well, I made like a copycat version of QuickBooks through Excel, but now it's kind of getting too much. So I think I'm just going to go and start using Excel. Or not Excel, I'm sorry, QuickBooks. And yeah, why do you ask? Do you have a software in mind?
Well, no, I was making sure you're using the most available practical resources for your business. And do you have a younger brother or sister or anything, somebody in high school that you want to hire part-time to do the dirty work? I mean, sometimes I know you do what you do. You don't hire a surgeon to do the accounting. So
yeah, I mean, I do like to kind of see it because it's like my own numbers, I guess. But I mean, I could have my mom help me out because she was saying that she would be interested in helping me out with some stuff here and there.
always take the help. If it's not your strong suit or you're just inundated, don't be afraid to farm that out so you can spend your time on your business doing what it is you do. So, at some point you get big enough, you grow enough, you'll have a CFO, chief financial officer, and it won't be you. You'll be the CEO. So don't be afraid to farm some of that stuff out. Just keep your finger on it so you know what's going on.
Yeah, and that's definitely something I need to work on is like stick with my strong suits because the stuff that like when I fix a lawnmower, it takes me like 15-20 minutes and it would take somebody else like an hour and a half. So it's like when I do accounting, it probably takes me 10 hours. Now it takes somebody else an hour and a half.
Take your mom up on the offer, Anthony. Okay. Enjoy the
All right.
summer.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That's it.
All right, you guys, we are going to sign off for the night. Thank you. Great to see you all. See you next Monday. Bye.
Thank you.